Hello and welcome to a Snug podcast. It is late, so please bear with us. It's not going to be a long episode, kind of bare minimum on the notes today. Uh, so, yeah, it's even a bare cast. That lovely voice you heard there was the one, the only Gwen the Bard. How are you? She is with us in voice, but not present in the Snugpod. Magic.
Meh. Yes.
And we also have one gone crazy back soon. How are you?
I'm good. It's late, but we'll just have to grin and bear it.
Yeah. Uh, which makes me wonder how much he actually loves his bear if he left without his bear. So,
Honestly, it's not even that he left without it. It's that he left it with us.
yeah.
The fact that he trusts us with his bear is, well, I guess I feel loved. Either that or maybe he left the bear to watch all of us and make sure we didn't get into trouble.
Yeah. All I have to say is if this one gets eaten, bear will have massive fur ball. So,
Maybe
yeah.
he just needed some quality time with us. Okay.
Hey, you know what Pooh eats at parties? Like,
Stop. No.
do you know?
No.
Blueberry pie.
Oh no.
Uh,
When
you
did
know,
this become a bear cast?
okay, this one's not this isn't about bears. Okay, why did Tigger look in the toilet?
Stop. No, I've heard this joke so many times.
He was looking for
We don't have
poo.
toilets in Tamriel. There are no toilet furnishing packs. You have to make them. Oh boy.
Okay,
Okay. Well,
okay.
what have we been up to? Well, anything?
Uh,
I,
I have been leveling antiquities. Finally got to
Yay.
7 on that, so that I can chase down the number gold leads. Um, well, some of the gold leads look cool. Plus the mythics, and I wanted to be able to get those. I keep getting gold leads and then like watching as they just go away because I couldn't use them. So I was like, I'm just gonna go ahead and get it done. And so I went ahead and got it done while we were talking, actually. So, yeah.
Wait until you get another PvP event because that's where I always get a ton of leads. Is during any of the PvP stuff when we had mid-year, not mid-year now, White Strikes Mayhem. I almost always end up with the lead for the statues, which is a gold lead, and then what is it? Pale Order? Is that one of the pieces that comes from some of the PvP stuff? I don't remember, but there's quite a few mythics that you'll get if you do any sort of PvP content during those events a lot of the time.
Is
So
that the Ring
that'll
of
be
the
good
Pale
for you.
Order?
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So hopefully, I'll come up with some cool stuff. Um, anyway, what about you guys?
Honestly, for me, it's been really, really busy RL, so I have not been in game a lot other than to kind of just pick up my daily writs, and do some stuff. Actually, that's not true. Now that I think about it, I did do one thing this week. I started trying to finally finish the Southern Elsewhere quest line because I realized I did Northern Elsewhere, but I never actually completed that whole like year-long piece. So I've been working on the Southern Elsewhere stuff, and I'm really liking it. That zone is just, it's pretty. And I really like, I mean, I know it's been out for a while, but I still don't want to be too spoilery with it, but I really like some of the interactions that you have with some of the dragons in that Southern Elsewhere quest line. So hopefully I can finish that up soon, just because I kind of want to see how that one ends. And what sort of inspired me to go back and do that is I realized when we ran the dungeon, the new stuff a few weeks ago, Zaji was in the different gear from that quest line because I had gone that far, but I thought to myself, well, I've never finished it, so now's a good time to kind of go back and see how I can tie up that story with Zaji before we get into the High Isle content and into that other stuff. So I forgot that I had been working on that a little bit.
Zaji's a fun character. I can barely tell the difference.
Oh my gosh. Did you pick up those couple of Sithis statues that have been in the store, or did you already have them? The Boroplasm.
So I've been doing a little bit of housing too, largely moving a few things around and taking some stuff out just because I'm bumping up against limits, and so I just took out some excess like lighting things that I don't necessarily have to have anymore. And no, those are still there in their creepy spot. Yeah.
I had to go look because everyone kept posting in chat about all your chairs. I'm like, what are they talking about? I don't remember seeing a lot of chairs in the guild house. I'm like, maybe it's in the huts. So I like ran up there and opened the door and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I think I found the spot.
Yeah. So, if you're in the guild, you can go check that out. And you can see, and until I take them out, they'll get taken out eventually. But I ended up with a collection of several of those Daedric thrones, and this was not my intention, but like I kind of made that into like the living quarters. So there's a bed in there, and then at various places, evenly spaced. That's why I did it. I had enough of them, and I just evenly spaced them around the outside of the room. But it looks like they're placed for an audience. To watch somebody sleep, and that's all, because that, family friendly. So it's an audience of people that would watch somebody sleep, which in and of itself is also just kind of creepy. I don't know, like, and we're doing sleep studies in Tamriel now. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real creepy.
But I bought that huge windmill, and I have an idea for it, but I can't quite figure out how to make it happen. So I'm gonna need a housing mancer to help me with that. Topic for another day. But yeah, so that's what I've been doing. Between just bouncing back and forth between touching up some things in the house and the antiquity stuff. And I have a question for you two, though I have a few answers. Or, I mean, I have... No. Give me some credit, guys. Give me some credit. I barely get into a sentence and you're already harassing me. No, it was Mother's Day. Did you guys have a good Mother's Day?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I worked today and then I fixed my car, so sure.
Well, not good. My Mother's Day was good, even though I'm not a mother. My wife is, so that counts. Yeah, we had fun. All right. Well, and hopefully to any of the other mothers who may be listening, I hope that you all had a great day today, too. Let's get into some show stuff, because we have so much.
That was not the question, by the way, that I thought you were going to ask us.
What did you think I was going to ask you?
I thought you were going to ask us about what you added to the notes.
Not yet.
Oh, okay, that's coming. Okay, I need to prep. I'm going to open UESP.
Don't know. I mean, they probably have this, but I'm not exactly sure how you would find it there. So, Gwen and I were already having this conversation. You were late to the party. You were late to the late party, because the party started late anyway.
Just kidding.
So, do you ever pay attention to the little, like, random encounters that you can come across on the road with, like, multiple, like, it'd be two people talking, and you can listen to them, and then eventually they'll turn to you and ask for your input on their argument?
Yes.
Well, I came across one, might have been in Green Shade or somewhere, because it was while I was doing antiquity hunting, and they were arguing about moon sugar and whether or not moon sugar should be illegal. And it was a Khajiit and a high elf, and the high elf was like, no, moon sugar's bad, it's used in skooma, which is a drug for you people, and you should quit it, and it should be illegal. And the Khajiit was like, nah, not all of us do that. We use it for spices and seasoning and whatever in our food, and it's tasty and sweet, and we love it. And then they're like, what do you think? And I was like, yeah, I'm a Khajiit. Of course I want some moon sugar, so shut up, you stupid elf. And that did not make the elf very happy with me. Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah. But anyway, so I just thought, it was worth calling out to anybody who doesn't really pay attention to those things. Like, as you're traveling and you just wander down the road, if you see two or more people over on the side, stop and listen for a second and see if they're saying anything interesting. And sometimes they may give you an opportunity to determine whether or not somebody gets beaten down for eating flowers or whatever. Yeah.
I love the random encounters.
Yeah.
They're really, really fun.
It's pretty cool to find that kind of stuff in MMO, like that they took the time to put little details like that in there. It kind of makes the world feel a bit more lived in.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So this was a crazy news week, like crazy amount of news. And by that, I mean there was barely any.
So much. Or none.
I can't help it. This bear keeps like looking at me and sniffing, and it's yeah.
If someone's keeping tally, we're probably up to at least like 40 times that we've used the word barely.
Yeah. Well, if anybody can send us a correct, tweet us like the correct amount of times we've made puns about bears. Good for you. We're not giving you anything.
Wow.
We'll clap for you. Here you go. If you send us the correct amount, then just come back and listen to that moment, and you will have gotten a clap. So, yeah.
The bear's here for your protection.
Right.
Cyrodiil.
That
It
is
is.
that is the rumor, or the report.
Can confirm.
So have you tested
Well,
this?
can't confirm Cyrodiil, but can confirm other stuff.
Okay.
So, they basically what they did was they did some hardware exchange finally and replacement on the PCNA servers.
10-year-old
Which was,
hardware.
yeah, which was kind of the big news thing of the week because there was quite a bit of downtime. I think the downtime actually ended up being a little bit longer than they thought it was going to be. So people were kind of like, I want to play. What's going on? Why is it taking so long? And, of course, people that were kind of reading and paying attention, explain the hardware stuff. But it seems that the load screens are a little bit snappier. I actually feel like I've noticed a little bit smoother gameplay. I mean, I haven't really booted it up on my home connection, but yes, I do play ESO sometimes on my laptop at work, and I definitely have noticed that at least at work,
Trader.
it seems to be running smooth. I know. Seems to be running a little bit smoother, but the big talk of the town was the fact that Cyrodiil seems to be much better. So there were people that originally that morning were kind of like, oh, it looks like Cyrodiil's running smoother. It's loading in faster and I'm seeing improvement. And everybody was kind of like, yeah, well, wait until everybody gets on Greyhost in the middle of the day and it's just big Zerg fests and we'll see what happens. And apparently people did that and it ran pretty darn well. So it was kind of, yeah, right? Well, there is some video, actually.
Yeah.
I think Deltia, if I can find it, I'll see if I can find it and share it.
Yeah.
But I think Deltia did share some videos of their Zergs that they typically run on certain days, and the fact that it seemed better, so.
I believe he even said that he had, he got a bunch of people together, and they had, 3 alliance battles, with just tons of people on each side. From each faction.
Yeah, they did a keep 3-sided battle, I believe, is what it was. So that would be with siege and all sorts of stuff. Theoretically, I would think. I didn't get to watch the video, but I did hear about it. So,
yeah,
yeah.
It seems.
And I did see.
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I was going to say I did see some other big streamers that had been PvPers previously that had basically just stepped away from the game for the time being because they were like, hey, Cyrodiil is misery, so I'm not going to go there, and we're not going to play until you fix it. And quite a few of them, I noticed the other day, were making posts on Twitter and stuff like, well, looks like Cyrodiil's getting better, maybe I will come back, like that sort of a thing. So, let me tell you, if it did that much of a change, I'll be really, really excited when they eventually get to the other servers. Because they are supposed to. It's just with the way things are right now, with technology and backlogs and back orders for things, I think they said it'll be a little bit. But the other servers are supposed to follow along eventually with that update and repair stuff.
Probably PCEU first. If I had to guess, and then consoles next.
Yeah, it probably depends too on the load of the servers and which ones are having the most problems. I think they did PCNA first, probably because that's one of their heaviest loads. But also, they had that issue during the last update where it was like, is it hardware or software? And they figured out it was hardware, so maybe that pushed them to do it a little bit faster.
And the thing is, they said when they announced that they were going to be doing this hardware refresh that they were not expecting any significant performance improvements. It seems like they were just kind of underselling because in the past they've said, oh, we think this thing's going to help a bunch, and then it don't. And then they say this other thing's going to help a bunch, and then it don't. And we're going to do these tests and these things to find out what'll work, and then nothing changes is, what people in the community say. So they were like, maybe we just shouldn't make any promises. And then they put out, they update the hardware and people come in and are like, oh, well, you said this wasn't going to do anything, but this seems to have done a lot. Going back to Delta, what he was saying was that he was still getting some frame drops, but he wasn't getting disconnected as much. And the big thing was that skills were firing like they should. It wasn't, I guess in the past people were having issues with, and we've seen it even playing in PvE stuff sometimes, where you press a button to fire a skill and it just doesn't happen. But in a PvP environment with 100 people running around, would magnify that even more. He said that skills were reliably going off like they were supposed to, and he said it was actually fun to go get in a fight because you could, you might win or lose the fight, but it wasn't going to be because you just weren't using skills that you told it to use.
Yeah.
So
definitely interesting.
And yeah, is there anything else on that? I mean, it kind of covers it, right? It's not really.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, they may eventually do some sort of a news release, like, hey, this changed, and it's because of this exchange or replacement. But right now, it's just kind of been like they haven't really said anything. It's like, hey, we did this. Okay, great. Hey, things are running a lot smoother. The community, the PvP community is a little happier. Okay, don't wake the sleeping bear. Just like let it go. So, I think so far they're just gonna leave it at that. So
yeah, probably a safe bet to not overpromise anything, and which is generally good business anyway. I think it's better to underpromise and overdeliver than the opposite.
Right.
Don't get anybody's expectations too high, and then have to deal with disappointment. And now you've got the community kind of excited about it, and that's building some hype. So that's good. You may even see the player base kind of pick up a little bit from that. Like you said, you already see some people kind of coming back and testing things out, and you may get a lot of people that left for that stuff jumping back in, and be good. And that pretty well does it for news.
Yeah.
There may have been a few things here or there, but nothing super notable that I recall. So outside of that, we just had a couple of articles released, right?
Yeah, that's it. There were, as far as I know, unless some other stuff came out in the last, 24 to 48 hours, there were two lore articles released, basically. There's one about Ember, because we did the one about Isabel previously, and then there was one on the Society of the Steadfast. So, yeah. Those were the two things released. Gwen, are you there? Do you have a prep? I was going to say, do you have a preference? I see what you did there.
Yeah, making cat puns.
Oh boy, everyone this week's gonna be like, wow.
Hey, that's kind of polarizing.
That's awesome.
So, Erin, would that be a dark elf? High elf, I think?
Well, he could be a Breton, potentially. Magic of Breton. So, yeah. I guess we'll find out.
Hmm.
I love this description of her, the description about how chaotic she is. So, like, she's naturally gifted, but she doesn't really care about formal training. So, because of that, she's just like chaos in a bottle. Like, some of the things I was listening to when you were reading was making me laugh because it was making me think of my kid. Like, you won't believe the energy, and I don't know if I have the stamina to keep up with this. Like, those sorts of things made me think of that, like, oh my gosh, so she's gonna be like a 4-year-old in an adult's body, but also with magic. Wow! I love it.
So, Dion. No? No? Okay.
Dion.
Raising Dion, Netflix show. Little kid.
Oh, yeah.
Figures out he has powers. Cancelled. No third season.
I've not seen that one, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think she sounds fun. Probably gonna, like, rush to wherever you find her.
True that.
She'll probably just ask you to eat them or something. I don't know.
She's gonna be at Tor Dreok, which is where they talked about in the reading. So you'll find her near there, it says.
Okay.
So I guess we'll just have to see.
That's where I'm going. I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna go find Ember.
Beelining there. So excited. Cool. Well, the other one that they had was an actual lore book preview. This one's actually one of High Isle's lore books. And it talks about the Society of the Steadfast. And it's by someone that we've heard of before, Frastus. What?
I'm sorry. I was reading through the article and I just happened to skim down and see 3 banners, and my brain said 3 bananas. I don't know.
The 3 Bananas War.
I'm sorry.
People
Carry
do
on.
call the Aldmeri Dominion the Bananas.
That might have something to do with it. Anyway.
That's probably everyone else. Oh my gosh, EP especially. Ebonheart loves to call the big Zergs of AD in Grey Host Banana Zergs. Anyway, getting back to the Society of the Steadfast. This book's by Frastus of Elnir, which we've heard of before in previous stuff. But it's called the Society of the Steadfast. And it says, at the request of several highly placed members of imperial nobility, I shall wade into a subject usually foreign to me, the arena of current affairs, specifically the increasingly visible and political role of the Society of the Steadfast. The philanthropist Lord Bacaro Valoris started the Society of the Steadfast to provide relief to those caught up in the suffering caused by the Three Banners War. Families have been displaced, children made orphans, soldiers wounded, and famine has wept in behind the front as the three alliances clash. The Society does its best to provide aid and comfort to those afflicted by the ongoing conflict. During the earlier Colovian revolt that resulted in the end of the Longhouse Emperors, local community leaders stepped forward to act as champions for the war refugees streaming away from the imperial city as Varan Aquilarius' forces marched on the capital. Straw beds were made, shelters hastily constructed, and stew pots set to cooking. Banners were sewn from blood-spattered tunics and ragged bedclothes to signal safe harbor and succor for those who all needed it. This informal assembly of goodwill and aid may have been nothing more than a footnote in history, if not for Lord Bacaro Valoris. The sprawling Valoris family was impacted deeply by the war against Emperor Leovic, with Bacaro himself losing his partner and children to the fighting. In his grief, the noble threw his vast fortune into the assortment of charities, and when the Three Banners War commenced, he founded the Society of the Steadfast to assure that aid would be available to those most in need. The Society establishes healing pavilions for the wounded, distributes food and water to the hungry, and provides whatever aid they can. As Lord Bacaro has been noted to say, "My family has always believed that wealth should be used to foster good works. We seek to help the common folk caught up in the violence of the Alliance War." While not a religious organization, the Society does take inspiration from the teachings of Stendar. Between their healing centers and food distribution tents, its members work to show compassion and mercy to those touched by the war, soldiers and commoners alike. A relatively small organization, it labors mostly near the battlefields of Cyrodiil, and Lord Bacaro recently turned his estate on High Isle into a healing center, and he personally pays to transport the most egregiously wounded to the compound for treatment and recuperation. Ships sail daily from Gunfallen Bay, flying the Steadfast flag. Each carries rations and supplies across the sea to aid those impacted by the war. Whether Pact, Covenant, or Dominion, the color of a warrior's tunic has no impact on the Society's charter. They provide help to any in need. So that just sort of tells you exactly how not neutral, but, neutral they are, the Society. So, this book, I guess you can find, well, it just says you can find many more within the Sisters Archipelago. So, this will be a book that you can actually read on High Isle, and you'll actually have the opportunity to work with the Society of the Steadfast in the expansion. So, yeah, oh, we had to throw another one in there. So I'm excited to see kind of how all of this ties in. And on the ESO Live, they did show a little bit of the estate, and it looks really, really neat. They mentioned one of the healing pools there, because a bunch of people were jumping in and out of it on their characters, and they're mentioning that the healing pools there are, I think, like, volcanically heated because of the history of the island, or maybe it's not volcanically heated, but some sort of like a hot spring scenario. And they're supposed to heal you and heal your ailments as you visit. So that's kind of a cool little thing that ties in there. Hopefully to the island itself and the topography as well as to the lore. So that's cool. And that is it.
You mean there's nothing else?
Oh, well, I mean, we're just barely getting started with that.
That's hilarious. Right, so we do have a guild housing contest going. We have officially started that, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's no entries or anything yet, but yes, it is officially announced, so people can feel free to work on it starting now.
Yeah. So, if you have a Snugpod, decorate it however you want. If you don't have a Snugpod, well, go buy one, then decorate it however you want. And there's no theme, right? You can do any theme you want.
Yep.
And I think you can buy the place, if I'm not mistaken, for like 45,000 gold, which doesn't really take too long to earn if you just get out there and do some things. And yeah, I think I think it's only like 45,000. I believe that.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty cheap.
No, it's unfurnished, but I mean, get your own furnishings. Yeah. So this is not only for lore seekers; it's also for anyone else who listens that wants to take part. We'll have to get some details out on how to get entries submitted. We haven't done that yet, right?
We have not. That is the one thing that definitely needs to be finished up that we'll have to follow up on.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's either going to be make it your primary residence, and we'll have a list of people that we need to go see and look around or do video tours or screenshots of, or maybe people can also just post screenshots since the actual Snugpod isn't super big. so it's not like getting 1,000 screenshots of another home or something. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll work that last little bit out as it gets just a little bit closer.
Yep. And the contest is going to run through June 21st, which is the release on of High Isle on console. Release of High Isle on console. Wow, that
There it
just
is.
I sounded like I just mumbled through some sounds. Thank you. I can barely get through this sometimes. Um,
Oh boy.
so yeah, so through the 21st of June. So that gives you over a month because it is now currently only May 9th. So yeah, so what is that? Roughly 6 weeks to go out and get your Snugpod, get it decorated, get your entries in, and yeah. What's that prize? All these Snugpods. And what is
We
the
want to
prize that
give
we
you
have for our winner?
it's the torch bug. So the wonderful Caddy Jacks donated a torch bug to us. So it'll be that greenish yellow torchy bug. Whoever comes in first. And there, yeah, it does. And there may be some like runner up stuff yet. We are still working the details out on that too. So
Yeah. If you're gonna get the torch bug, just keep Miri away. She doesn't like those apparently.
true,
Um,
true.
yep. So if you let's see. Yeah. So if you want to do that, then do that. And if you are interested in joining our guild to make that easier to communicate with us through our Discord, um, then come do that also. Speaking of our guild, we have a few announcements for some things coming up in the guild, or one thing that's already started and one that we are discussing for some activities. The first one is Moki's fishing event. It has not been formally named yet. We're working on that and details and timing and all that stuff. But once we get a definite uh, standard time in place, then that's going to hopefully be a regular event on our calendar, and Moki will be leading the charge on that. And that she's done it twice now, I think. And I know the first week there were several people that joined and said it went real well, and so hopefully by doing that more often, making it a more frequent and regular event, then more and more people will join and get out and have some fun. And right.
Yeah.
And
And I was going to say too, I think that there's also some fishing food in the guild bank right now too. So if you end up coming to one of those Monday events, Moki's made a bunch and dropped it in there, unless it's all gone now. But when I looked the other day, there was still a few stacks. So definitely feel free to grab some of that too before you go group up and join.
and the other thing is not set in stone yet, as far as the time, um, or well, the time, the time it will be, but we're tentatively calling it Midnight Mayhem. It's going to be a late night event. I don't know what we're going to do yet. I don't know if we get in a big enough group if we'll just try to run a trial or if we want to run through Cyrodiil. Who knows? But planning on, what is it, midnight Eastern?
Yes.
So it'll be midnight Eastern on a date to BD. TBD, not 2BD. To be determined. Yeah, and we'll get that out once we've had a little time to see what works best for the most people. And it's looking like it'll be a Friday or a Saturday night. It'll be late, obviously, but yeah. So come hang out in Discord, and if you're in the guild and not active in the Discord, then what are you even doing with your life? I mean, Discord's the place to be. Come hang out and get details on that as they are released. And we had several people when we first brought it up that were like, yeah, that sounds fun. I can be there for that. And started out as just sort of a toss out idea. It was like, oh, well, maybe this will work. And yeah, so we'll work out the details on that and have more info hopefully soon on what exactly that's going to be. And then if it goes well, maybe that's a thing that we do. I don't know if we'll do it weekly. It's a lot to try to pull off weekly stuff like that so late at night. But if nothing else, maybe like a monthly event or something like that, and we can work up some things to do that kind of jazz it up a little, and maybe have some giveaways or something to go along with it, just to kind of make it a thing. Is there anything that we have not covered aside from all of the contact information and such?
I don't think. Yeah.
All right. So if someone wanted to join our guild, how might someone go about doing that?
Excuse me. They can go to loreseekerseso.org. From there, you can do like a little application. It'll go to our Discord, and then we have a group of peeps that take a look through all of those, kind of just as a little filter to make sure that we're not letting people in that, you know, haven't read the code of conduct and all of those things. So it's hopefully keeping the guild a positive place overall on the Discord there. So usually they get to that pretty fast, 24 to 48 hours, sometimes more, sometimes less, but definitely try and get to you as quickly as possible. And the officers are all really, really good about that. So, yeah, loreseekerseso.org for that.
Yep. If you want to find us on Twitter, we are at Snugpodcast. And we don't have Sasquatch here, so I don't know. Do we have an email address? Thank you. I always rely on Sasquatch for that, because I don't even know what email is. It's like from another world. You know, I don't think Tamriel uses those yet, right?
I don't know.
So interesting.
Whoa.
That just blew my mind. And
Yeah.
we are not on Twitch tonight, but normally we would be on twitch.tv/snugpodcast. We are, however, also on YouTube, and you can just find us by searching Snug Podcast on YouTube, and it should pop up. And speaking of that, if you are watching and you think, man, I just need to be listening to this in the car, or while washing dishes, or going for a jog, or whatever it is that you do when you listen to people rant about video games, then you can do that. You can look us up on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and I don't know, a handful of other ones too. We're on probably most things if you look, but we are for sure on those, and you can listen to us there. But if you find yourself out for a jog listening to us and going, you know, I just want to go sit down in front of a screen and watch these guys, well, I've already told you how to find us there. So then come hang out with us and do all of those little things that, you know, let us know if this is awful or the best thing ever, or, you know, help people find us, share us with your friends, and all of that stuff goes a long way to keeping us encouraged to do this, because if we're just shouting into the wind, eventually we might just blow away, and that would be a very sad day, and you would not get any more bear jokes.
No more bear jokes.
Well, I mean, it's a little drafty in here. I think there's a spot that the vines didn't quite get twisted together right.
Too much. Full disclosure, I dozed off.
You dozed off? Wow, even my co-host is bored.
No, I'm not bored. It's 2 a.m. I'm totally not bored.
You
I'm
know,
just really sleepy.
I know what you need. You need caffeine. You need to share a
I
drink with a koala bear. You know what a koala bear's
uh
favorite drink is? Cola
root beer.
koala.
Oh wow.
You should have one.
And with that, we should leave.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Thanks for hanging out with us, listening or watching or whatever it is that you, however you are consuming Snug Podcast content. And we will see you on the next one. Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.